Hi yogi friends, Cathy here. So glad you are here to practice with me today. And this is going to be a shorter form of the Stretch Fest practice, so that if you want to get in a similar lengthening of the whole body and opening of the whole body, you have a shorter version. So come into your easy seat here. Go ahead and close the eyes and really settle in. Feel the low body sink down into your mat. Feel the legs, the bum, the feet, the ankles, just growing heavier with each exhale. At the same time, lengthen up through the spine, lifting it up out of the pelvis a bit, up through this back of the spine, right out through the neck and the crown of the head. And then also at the same time, allow the elbows and the shoulders to grow a little heavy so that the shoulders can sink away from the ears. So you're sitting tall here, feeling comfortable. This should be an easy seat. If there's anything you can do to make it more comfortable, do so. I use a small towel rolled up just beneath my tailbone. That really helps me to sit straight. So if that helps you, go ahead and do that. And take a moment to just glance around your space and see if you have your blocks handy. And excuse me, and your strap. We're going to need your block and your strap today. So if you don't have those, take a moment to pause and grab those. If you don't have a strap, a belt can work, or the tie from a bathrobe. Even a long towel can be used in place of a strap. And if you have thick books instead of blocks, those can work too. So settle back in here and take a notice of your clothing against your skin and the temperature of the air in the room around you, any sounds that you can hear in your environment. And then slowly bring your attention inward a bit more. Maybe notice if you are having any particular feelings, any emotional state that's just the current state of things for you. You might even want to set an intention for your practice, and that might simply be to fully be present right here in this space, focusing on your body, focusing on your mind for a while. And then take notice of any sensations in the body. And finally, go ahead and bring your attention to settle on your breath. Just feeling the expansion of the whole torso as you inhale, and the contraction of all those muscles around the midsection as you exhale. Noticing on the inhale how the air feels cool as it comes in the nostrils, and much warmer as it exits the nostrils. Keeping that easy seat, that tall spine. Let's take some big full belly breaths, really filling up the low belly first as you draw air deep into the lungs, and then filling up all the way to the top, maybe even raising the collarbone just slightly, and then let the exhale naturally follow. Take another big full belly inhale, and a full and complete exhale. And once more, full inhale, really fill up the lungs, drawing oxygen deep down all the way into the bottom of the lungs, filling up all the way to the top, and then allowing that exhale to relax the body. Let's take one more big full inhale, and we'll chant Om on the exhale. That chant of Om is just a reminder of the life force that is present within each of us and connects us to all other living beings. And now let's slowly begin to open the eyes when you feel ready. Go ahead and lift the arms up overhead, really lengthening through the fingertips, allowing the shoulders to relax down. Clasp the fingers together in a double fist, and then turn the palms toward the ceiling and press the palms up toward the ceiling as you relax the shoulders away from the ears. Feeling that length in the spine, the length in the sides of the body. And then let's unclasp the hands, release the hands, fingertips, and then twist to one side. We're going to let one hand rest behind the hip, one hand rest on the leg, and just rest. We're not pressing. Sitting tall in the spine on the inhale, glance over that back shoulder on the exhale. Just feel that twist of the muscles around the midsection. And then take this hand that's resting behind the hip, lift it up over the shoulder, and then we're going to just tip over toward the side. Feel that opening in the side body from the pinky finger all the way down the arm, down the side, right down into your hip. Keep both hips grounded here. Keep that shoulder away from the ear. And then we'll lower that top arm down. Let's lift both hands back up overhead again. Clasp the hands. Turn the palms toward the ceiling. Press up. Lengthening through spine. Feeling that extension. You might glance just a little higher than normal. And then let's release the fingertips. Take that twist to the other side. One hand rests on the thigh or the knee. One hand rests right behind the hip. Lengthen tall on the inhale, glance over that back shoulder on the exhale. Holding here for a moment, just remembering to breathe. Let's lift that back arm up so it's extended over the shoulder, and then we'll take a little tip toward the side, keeping both shoulders away from the ears. Maybe we glance toward the elbow that's extended above the shoulder. Feeling that length again from the pinky finger down the arm, down the side body, all the way down to the hip. And notice if both hips are grounded, if the low body is still heavy on your mat. And then let's bring that hand down. Lengthen the fingertips out at diagonals from the shoulders. And we're going to twist torso and let the head and the arms just follow that twist. So you can feel a nice alignment around the spine here. The muscles are just kind of realigning things in the back. Let's go ahead and lift arms to shoulder height. Really extending through the fingertips here. Turn the palms toward the ceiling and then raise the hands into a V shape. So we get a V from the fingertips down to the shoulders and back up to the other fingertips. Continue to rotate the torso here, and then we're going to slowly bring the arms back down. Just slowly make your way all the way down with the arms here. And then we'll come back to stillness. And let's take one leg. And we're going to grasp the sole of the foot and the arch with one hand. And then we're going to either grab the knee with the other hand, or we can maybe wrap the elbow around that knee. But the idea here is we want to keep a tall spine. If that means we keep the leg low here as we move from the hip and just rock this leg back and forth like a little baby, then do that. If there's a little more openness in the hip, you might raise the leg a little higher, but keep the spine tall. If it starts to curve, that just means lower the leg back down a bit and change your positioning with the hands and the arm. And this is something where you can build a little more mobility in that hip, and you may be able to eventually raise the leg higher, or maybe not. We just want to keep that spine straight. Take good care of the spine first and foremost. And then let's rock that leg a little back and forth. So front to back rather than side to side. And then we'll lower that leg down. We're going to pick up the opposite leg. And you might notice it's really a different sensation on this side of the body. You might have more openness in the hip, a little more mobility. Just take notice of those things as you begin to rock side to side. And again, tall spine, so whatever it takes, if that means lowering the leg down quite a bit, go ahead and do that. And of course, pay attention to the sensations in the body. If there's ever any pain, we just back off and try a different pose altogether, or lower into a little bit less of the pose, a little bit simpler variation. No pain here. Little discomfort is the body's way of saying, hey, let's pay attention. Once it crosses into pain, it's the body's notification that we need to change and make it workable for today. What works on one day may not work on another day, so keep that in mind too. Now let's rock that hip a little forward and back. And then we'll lower that leg and choose to cross the legs however is most comfortable. And we're going to work on warming up the neck just a little bit. So sit tall in the spine first, drop the chin toward the chest, and feel that opening in the upper back and shoulders. Take a couple breaths here, just letting the back of the neck, the upper back and shoulders open a little bit. And then we'll rock one ear over to one shoulder. You might want to close the eyes here, just feeling the sensation in the side of the neck. And letting this be a relaxed, almost effortless opening in the side of the neck. Just letting gravity do the work here. Drop the chin back to the chest. We're going to rock the opposite ear over to the opposite shoulder. And again, keep the shoulders away from the ears. Let them just be heavy. And notice how it feels on this side of the body versus the other. We tend to hold tension on one side of the body a little more than the other. Drop chin back to chest, opposite ear to opposite shoulder. And we're just going to slowly rock from side to side now. Bringing a little more dynamic movement into this neck opening stretch. And again, if there's a spot where you feel like you need to hold for a moment and just kind of hang out there, go ahead and do that. Keeping the rest of the spine tall from the base of the neck and back all the way down to the tailbone. And let's rock side to side once more, one more on each side. And after that final rock to the shoulder, we'll bring the chin back to the chest and then sit up tall, bringing the face back to a neutral position and come into a tabletop. So come onto hands and knees here. Wrists right beneath the shoulders, knees right beneath the hips, feet right behind the knees. Nice grip in the fingertips here. So hands are like spiders. And we'll draw the navel toward the spine as we lengthen out through the crown and out through the sits bones, the tailbone. Go ahead and take an inhale as you drop the belly and raise the crown of the head and the tailbone. And as you exhale, press into the palms, curve the spine toward the ceiling, and really press into the base of the palms and the tops of the feet. And then inhale, drop the belly. And exhale, curve the spine. Inhale, drop the belly. And exhale, curve the spine. Keep that going with your inhale as you drop the belly. And your exhale as you're coming into your cat. Feeling that opening in the front body as you drop the belly into cow. And feel the stretch along the back as you come into your cat. Let's do one more drop of the belly into cow. One more curve of the spine up into cat. And then come into a neutral position of tabletop here. Take a look at your foundation. Just make sure that's still good. Navel is still drawn up to the spine, lengthening out through the crown and the tail. Let's press the hips out to one side. And then we're going to look over the opposite shoulder toward the heel behind us and just hold there for a moment. If it feels good, you might rock in that position just a bit. And then come back to stillness. Bring the hips back to center. Press the hips out to the opposite side. Little rock there if that feels good. And then we'll come back to center with the hips. Now we're going to do some hip circles. And you can do hip circles up in the tabletop, just staying up on the hands and knees. And if your body allows, you can also bring those hip circles all the way back. So bringing the hips back toward the heels, crossing the heels, and pressing the hips out to the opposite sides, making some big circles here. So do what works best for your body. Just notice how this feels in the hips. Let's do one more in this direction, and then we'll come up to our tabletop. And then we'll take these hip circles to the opposite direction. And notice if there's any difference in the sensation going one way versus the other. And then we're going to do one more, and we'll come back up to our tabletop again. And have that neutral spine here. Let's take a moment in child's pose. You might bring the knees as wide as the mat, the big toes to touch each other. Bring the hips back toward the heels. Rest the forehead either on the mat, a block, a blanket. And just let everything grow heavy here, really resting. This is a complete resting pose. We're letting everything really sink into the mat a little bit more on each exhale. And letting everything go. Really having a release in our child's pose here. Take one more full breath cycle in this child's pose. And on your next inhale, go ahead and lift the head just slightly off the mat. We're going to walk the hands over off the right-hand side of our mat. Really lengthen through the left fingertips. You might even walk them forward just a tiny bit and feel that opening in the left side body. Again, feeling it from the hip and the waist all the way up the side of the body, up the side of the arm, toward the pinky finger. And then let's walk the hands back to the center of our mat, and then we'll walk them over off the left-hand side. And again, reaching through that left hand, reaching through the right hand, maybe walking the right fingertips forward just a tiny bit to increase the opening in the right side of the body. From the pinky all the way down the side of the arm, the side body, right to the hip and the waist on the right-hand side. Coming back to center now. Coming back up to our tabletop position. And we're going to come to a down dog. So lift the hips high. Go ahead and pedal the feet here a bit. Think of drawing the low ribs in. Maybe come up onto the toes for a moment and then press the heels back down towards your mat. You want to grip into the fingertips again.
So the weight is evenly distributed here between the base of the palms and the balls of the feet. Really lengthen through the crown of the head. We want a straight spine. So we want a diagonal line from the crown of the head down the spine all the way to the tailbone. And we want to work toward bringing our head to a place where the ears are framed by the biceps. Biceps are on either side of the ears. Now from here, let's come back to our tabletop. We're going to bring the right knee forward between the hands. And we'll bring the right foot over to rest in front of the left hip flexor, that front of that left hip. Now, some people have the mobility here to even walk that right foot forward a bit and bring the right knee back a bit. Now you need to really listen to your body here. Keep that right foot in a position that allows you to be comfortable, but to also feel some opening in the right leg, especially this thigh and hip. And we want to have that left leg right straight behind the left hip. So take a little glance back, see that it is in a straight line. And we want the weight here to be in the right leg, concentrated between the knee all the way down the side of the calf muscle to the outside of a right ankle. So we're not resting over here on the right thigh and bum or right hip, but we're elevated a bit. The pelvis is off your mat. So sitting tall here, really pressing into the fingertips, lengthening out the crown of the head. Feel that opening in the left hip flexor, the front of the left hip. And then if you like, you can come down onto, walking the hands forward, come down onto the forearms. You might bring the head down onto a block. You might make a fist with one hand and rest the head on the fist. You might even flatten the hands and come to rest the head all the way down on the hands. Now, if this is really too much for that right leg, go ahead and press back up with the forearms, the elbows, hands, press back up into that higher pigeon, because this can become intense. And it's perfectly fine to bring the upper body upright. If this is just, you can't do this because the knees are not able to come into this bend or this twist, then go ahead and take a supine figure 4. And that means you're lying on the back. You have the right ankle resting just above the left knee. So the right knee would be bent. And you wrap the hands around the back of the left thigh and just pull that left thigh closer to the body. And you would use the right elbow to just press against the right thigh. You get the same sort of opening in the hip, but not as much intensity on the right knee. Go ahead and use the forearms and the hands to press you back up if you're in that low pigeon. Sit tall in the spine here. And now we are going to rock the weight over onto the right hip and the right thigh. If you are in that supine figure 4, come back up and join us. We're going to come into a twist here, a Matsyendrasana, half Lord of the Fishes. Now, this is another little bit more intense twist, so we have some options here. You can bring, so the left sole of the foot is resting on the floor, left knee is bent toward the ceiling. Right leg is still bent and resting on the mat. You might bring that left foot just inside the right knee so that its left ankle is touching just below the right knee. Or you might bring the left foot over on the outside of that right knee. Either way, we want to have the left knee pointed toward the ceiling. And we're going to take the left hand up over the left shoulder,
bring it around and let that left hand rest right behind the left hip. And if you are finding this might be a little much, go ahead and move that left foot back over again. That's perfectly fine. We do want both the sits bones to be grounded. So if that means moving the foot, rearranging things a little bit, go ahead and do that. And then we'll take the right arm and either bring that right elbow to rest right on top of the left knee, or you might hook it around the left knee. Sit tall in the spine and then glance over that back shoulder. Keeping the shoulders parallel to the floor, so we don't want one shoulder higher than the other. Lengthening tall in the spine. Notice if both sits bones are on the ground. And bringing that twist into the neck as you glance over the back shoulder, if that feels good for your neck. Remembering to breathe here. Another option in this twist is always to do a different version of the twist. You can even bring both legs out in front and just twist to the left side, or bring the left foot on the outside of an outstretched right leg and stretch that way. That's another option as well. You don't have to come into this twisted legs and twisted everything position, only if it feels right for your body. To come out, let's lift the right arm up and around, left arm up and around. Let's go ahead and use the left hand to grab that left ankle, and we'll pull it to the other side. Go ahead and plant the palms here. Rock the weight onto the side of that right leg, and then bring that left leg back out behind you. Come back into that pigeon. And then we're just going to bend the left knee, bringing the heel toward the back of the body. And you might feel the quad stretching here. And you want to flex the foot. If there's any cramping anywhere in that left leg. And if it works for your body, plant the left hand, reach the right hand up and around, grabbing that left ankle. And that's going to intensify that quad stretch. So if it's too much, go ahead and release the hand, bringing it back around. If it works to hold here for a few moments, go ahead and do that. And then gently release that foot. Curl those toes under, the left toes behind you, and then we're going to press up with the palms coming into a down dog. Now take some notice of that right leg versus that left leg. How do they compare right now after the work that we've done? Settle into your down dog. Take another full breath cycle here. And then come back down to your tabletop. We're going to take that on the opposite side. So bring that left foot, rather left knee forward between the hands. And walk the right foot back a bit if that allows you to bring it nice and straight behind the hip. This left foot is going to rest right in front of the right hip flexor first. And then if you want to work that left foot forward a bit, if it works for your body, do so. If not, bring it right back where it started. Just play with this a little bit and see what works best for your body. It might work to bring both of the hands inside the left knee. And then press into the fingertips, sit tall, lengthening up through the spine, and notice where the weight is resting on the left leg. We want it resting from the top, the outside of the left calf, all the way down the side of the calf onto the side of the left foot. We want the pelvis to be elevated off the mat. You're going to feel some opening in the outside of that left hip and also in the hip flexor on the right leg. Lengthening tall again, and then working our way down. Again, if this is too much for the knee, go ahead and take that supine figure 4. That would be lying on your back. The left ankle
would be resting right above the right knee with the left knee bent. And you would thread the hands behind the right thigh and just gently pull the right thigh toward the chest as you're pressing against the left thigh with the left elbow. That would be the supine on your back, figure 4. If you haven't already, go ahead and lower down if you like, if that works for your body, bringing the head to rest either on the hands, a block, a blanket, in whatever position is most comfortable to rest the head. And remember to breathe here, feeling that opening in the outer left thigh from the hip all the way down the back of the thigh to the knee, and feeling that opening in the front of that right leg. Let's go ahead and press ourselves back up to a tall pigeon. Lengthening up through the crown of the head, pressing into the fingertips. And then we'll rock the weight over onto the left thigh and left hip, swinging the right leg around, coming into your twist at whatever level is right for your body today. Again, you can do a simple twist with legs in front and just twisting the torso and the arms if that works. Playing with where you want the position of that right foot. Ideally, we'd like the right knee to be pointing straight toward the ceiling. Let's take the right hand up and around to rest behind the right hip. Left arm up and around, either resting left elbow on top of the right knee or wrapping that left elbow around the right knee. We sit tall in the spine and maybe glance toward that back shoulder if that works for the neck today. Sitting tall and remembering to breathe here. Maybe feeling a bit of compression in the abdomen. Again, if this twist is a little much, go ahead and come to another variation, bringing the right foot on the opposite side of that left knee is an option, or extending the left leg out in front and just having the right knee bent toward the ceiling. Lots of options on this twist here. Let's come out by lifting the left arm up and around, bringing the right arm up and around, moving that right ankle back again. Come back into that pigeon pose where we started. We're going to bend that right knee so that the right foot comes toward the body. Flex the right foot. Press into the right palm. And if this is plenty, stay right here. If you'd like, you can bring that left arm up and around and just gently grasp the front of the right ankle with the left foot. And just give a very gentle tug toward the body and feel that opening in the right quad. If you'd like to glance over toward that left shoulder, you can. And remember to breathe here. And then go ahead and gently release that foot. Curl the right toes under. Press into the palms. Come back to our down dog. Go ahead and pedal the feet here if that feels good. Bending one knee as you press the opposite heel toward your mat. And settle into your down dog. Take a full breath cycle here. Grip into those fingertips, lift those hips, flat back. And then let's walk forward to our forward fold. And just hang here, let the head grow heavy. Maybe we rock a little bit of weight into the balls of the feet just to feel that sensation. Give yourself a nice bend in the knees here. No need to straighten the knees completely. And let's take a half lift at whatever level feels good for you, just lengthening out through the crown of the head, drawing the navel up to spine, and then lowering back down. Then we're going to come all the way up to mountain, raising the arms up above the shoulders. Let's open the elbows at 90 degrees here. And press the hands and the elbows back so we have a little opening in the chest. Bring the hands and elbows forward. Lift up. Tall mountain. Take a little back bend here at the top. Go ahead and fold back down into your forward fold. Take that halfway lift again. And fold back down. Roll yourself back up to mountain. Take those goalpost arms with elbows at 90 degrees again. Press the hands and the elbows back, opening through the chest. Bringing hands and elbows forward. Lengthen up tall in our tall mountain, and then we will dive forward once more into our down dog. Into our forward fold. Sway a little here. Sway a little side to side. And then we're going to take the head right to the center. Draw some little circles with the top of the head on your mat. And then go in the opposite direction. Take the left toes back. And come into your low lunge. Lower that left knee. Now, this might be a great place to bring your blocks in if you like to bring the surface up to the hands. Pull that right hip back just a tiny bit. Feel some opening in the left hip when you do that. The front of the left hip. Lengthen up through the spine. Tall in the spine here. And then from here, we're going to bring those blocks over to the side. And then we're going to come up onto the back toes and just pivot the back foot to about 45 degrees. Front knee is bent. Press into that front foot and just rise up, keeping that front knee bent. Raise the arms up over the shoulders first. So we're here in a warrior one. Lengthen up through the crown of the head. And then we're going to come into a warrior two. And as you come into that warrior two, you might rearrange the feet just a bit, really pressing weight into the outer edge of that back foot. Notice if the head is right above the heart and the heart is right above the pelvis. We want a straight line from head to heart to pelvis. Keeping this front knee right over the front ankle and tracking over the middle toes as if it were going to move out over the middle toes. And then we're going to come from here and cartwheel the arms around. Come onto those back toes again. Coming into that low lunge. And we're going to take a runner's stretch. So bring the blocks in if you like. Press up tall first. And then rock back. Bringing the weight over the back knee. Rocking onto the front heel. So the toes are coming toward the nose. Keeping the pelvis aligned here so the back hip doesn't pop out to the side. We keep it in the same plane with the back knee. And then we'll rock forward onto the sole of that front foot. Bring those blocks up. Come up onto the back toes. And then we're going to come to a plank for just a moment. And then we'll come back to our down dog. Go ahead and pedal the feet there. Settle into down dog for one full breath. And walk forward to our forward fold. Take a halfway lift. Forward fold. Rise up to mountain. Goalpost arms, bending the elbows at 90 degrees, pressing the hands and the elbows back, bringing them forward, lifting hands overhead, taking that forward fold again. This time, we're going to take the right toes back, lowering into our low lunge blocks. Come in if you like, lengthening up through the crown, pulling that left hip back a tiny bit to open up the front of the right hip. Pressing some weight into the ball of that left foot and keeping that left knee right over the left ankle. And from here, I'm going to bring those blocks over to the side. Let's come up onto the back toes and pivot on the back foot, keeping the front knee bent. The back foot is at about a 45-degree angle, pressing into that front foot to rise up to our warrior one, raising both arms up over the shoulders, holding here for just a moment, and then opening up the arms into our warrior two, maybe rearranging the feet to come into a strong warrior two, feeling your strength here. Again, making sure all the weight in that back leg is concentrated in the outer edge of the back foot, front knee over the front ankle. Feel your strength here. Feel that length in the spine, really reaching out through the fingertips, pressing into both feet, and keeping a straight line from the crown down through the heart, right down into the center of the pelvis and out the tailbone. From here, we'll cartwheel the arms around, come onto the back toes, come into that lunge, bringing the foot, the back knee down. Bring your blocks in here again, and we'll take that runner's stretch. So moving the weight back over the back knee, rolling onto the front heel, bringing the toes to point toward the nose. Take notice of the back here. Flat back is our goal. Really feeling some length in the back of that left leg. Give yourself a bend in that left knee. And then we'll rock forward onto that front foot, sole of the foot on the mat. Come up onto the back toes. Plant the palms, come into your plank. Hold there for a moment, and this time we're going to lower the knees and keep the elbows close to the body as you lower the belly all the way down. And we'll take a cobra here and lower, using the muscles of the back to lift up first and then pressing into the base of the palms and lower. And one more cobra and lower. And this time we're going to press up to tabletop. And we're going to press up to down dog. And we're going to just hold that down dog for a moment. Really settle in. And then we'll bring the knees down to our tabletop. And we're going to sit the hips back onto the heels. And rock over onto one hip, bringing both legs in front of us. Coming into a Dandasana with both legs extended out in front. Maybe move the fleshy part of the buttocks to the side so you can really feel yourself grounded on those sits bones. Raise the arms up over the shoulders, bending from the hips. Let's take a forward fold here, seated forward fold, letting the hands rest wherever is most comfortable. Keeping a flat back, and if that means that the bend is not quite as far, that's okay. We want to keep a flat back here. If the fingers get near the toes, you might take a little tug on the toes. But ideally, we just want to keep a flat back and feel that length in the back of the legs. From there, let's sit back up tall and lower the arms down. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat, bending the knees toward the ceiling, and lift the bum up and move a little toward the front edge so you can grab behind the knees and slowly roll yourself down onto your back.
Go ahead and bring the knees to the chest, give them a little squeeze, and then allow the knees to come away from the chest just a bit so that the low back and the sacrum are resting on the mat. And then go ahead and rock a little from side to side, feeling a little bit of massage in the low back there. Go ahead and extend the left leg out onto your mat so the heel of the left foot rests on the mat, or on the floor in my case. And go ahead and grab your strap. We're going to need that. Have that handy. Give that right knee a little squeeze toward the chest. And then take your strap and wrap it around the ball of your foot and just beneath the pinky toe. And then extend that leg up so that the sole of the foot is toward the ceiling. And the knee isn't locked, but the leg is straight. Go ahead and bend the knee toward the chest and then press the foot up toward the ceiling. Keeping the hands low on your strap, so we're very close to the body so that the forearms and the elbows are close to the ribs. And just do that bend and stretch straight. Once more, and the next time the leg is straight, we're going to take that right foot, holding the strap so that the hands, the forearms, the elbows are close to the torso, and we're going to let that right foot fall over toward the left-hand side of the room, and you might rock onto that left hip a little bit. We want to keep both shoulder blades on the mat, and just allow the weight of the leg and gravity to do some opening here on the outside of that right leg, from the hip all the way down the leg. You can feel it in the IT band, right down to the right heel. And you might work to flex that foot and just pull the toes a little bit more toward the body. That might change the sensation slightly. And then let's rock over onto the back again so that the leg is extended toward the ceiling. And then we're going to rock the right foot over toward the right-hand side. So we're going to feel some opening in the groin and the inner thigh here. Again, keeping the hands, the forearms, and the elbows close to the torso, and really using those hands on your strap to hold this leg in position. So you can relax the leg and let the hands hold you here. Notice where you feel this the most. We do want to try to keep both hips down. We don't want the left hip to come way up off our mat. Keeping both shoulder blades again on your mat. Let's lift that right foot up toward the ceiling, bending the right knee toward the chest and releasing that strap. Let's do the same thing on the left. Bring the left knee in toward the chest. Give it a little squeeze, a little hug. And then we'll take that strap, wrap it below the big toe and just at the base of the pinky toe, so on the ball of the foot and right below the pinky toe. Bend the knee toward the chest, press the sole of the foot toward the ceiling. Just bending and straightening the leg here, opening up, preparing that hip joint. Now once the foot is extended toward the ceiling again, keep the hands, forearms, and elbows close to the torso. A little bend in that left knee as we rock the left foot over toward the right-hand side of the room, rocking the weight onto the right hip, keeping both shoulder blades on your mat, keeping that left foot flexed. And again, some relaxation in both the legs. The hands and arms are doing most of the work here. And notice how it feels different on this side of the body than it did on the other side. Remembering to breathe. And let's lift that left foot back up toward the ceiling. Keeping it extended, we're going to rock it over toward the left-hand side of the room. And again, keeping arms close to the torso, so we have a lot of leverage there to hold the left leg steady. And notice that opening on the inside of the left thigh and the groin area. And again, be gentle with yourself. We all have a different amount of flexibility here, even from one side of the body to the other. It really differs. So again, slight discomfort is okay. We don't want any pain here. We just want to feel a gentle opening, gentle release. And then let's lift that leg back up overhead. Release the strap. And put the strap over to the side and come into your Shavasana here. So lengthen both legs out. Relaxing the weight of the legs. Let the feet fall open naturally. Let the arms rest at your side, palms facing the ceiling. And let the whole body really sink deep into your mat. With every exhale, feel it sinking a little more. Notice if the chin is pointing directly toward the ceiling. That's our ideal position. And just notice any sensations in the body here. Take a moment to scan the different muscle groups. If you feel any tension or effort, you want to release that from the feet, up the legs, into the pelvic floor and the hips, up through the torso, the stomach, the back, shoulders, down the arms to the hands. Notice that gentle curve of the hands and fingers when they are fully relaxed. Coming into the neck, releasing any tension there, maybe even opening the jaw slightly. We tend to clench there sometimes. And allowing the muscles of the face to release. We often hold some tension there. So really releasing cheeks, jaw, around the nose and eyes, between the eyebrows, across the forehead. And just stay here for a few moments. We're going to soak up the benefits of this practice that we've just completed together. I'll let you know when it's time to come back to full awareness. So for now, your only job is to just be and breathe.
And go ahead now and bring a little movement to the hands and feet. You might wiggle the fingers and toes, circle the wrists and the ankles, rock the hips a bit from side to side. And take a full body stretch, reaching the hands up above the head, pressing out through the base of the palms and the heels of the feet, really lengthening the whole body here. And then we'll rock over onto one side, using the arm to pillow the head, coming into a loose fetal position. Take a full breath cycle once you get there. And then use the hands to press you up to seated. Keeping the eyes closed just as long as you can, coming back into that easy seat that we started our practice in. If you need that rolled blanket or towel beneath the tailbone, go ahead and grab that to help you sit tall in the spine. And as you come into this easy seat, start to notice how it feels to sit in this position now versus when we first came to practice. Allow the hands to rest gently on the legs. Feel the length and the strength of your spine as you sit tall. And just feel the sensations of the body. Notice how this practice has changed any of those sensations, if it has. Notice if there's been any change in the state of mind or the state of the emotions. Allow the shoulders to relax away from the ears, the low body to grow heavy on your mat. Notice the breathing pattern and the heart rate. Notice the hands, the warmth of them resting on the legs. Notice the temperature of the air in the room around you, the feeling of your clothing against your skin, any sounds in the environment around you. And bring the hands together at prayer position at the heart. Let's take a big full belly breath and we'll chant Om together on the exhale. And then bring the hands so that the thumbs rest at the forehead. May we have peace in our thoughts. Thumbs at the lips, may we have peace in our words. And finally, thumbs back at the heart space. May we have peace in our hearts. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. I bow as I say, Namaste.
Thank you so much for being here to practice with me today. I hope that this practice has brought some peace and tranquility into your day and that you can now carry that with you into all the spaces that you enter for the rest of your day and with you throughout all of your days. If you like this practice, please give it a thumbs up, and have any questions about or comments about the practice, please leave those in the comment section below. And obviously, if you'd like to see more of these practices, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you'll receive notifications whenever a new practice is uploaded. And I look forward to practicing with you again soon. Namaste.